everyone. Welcome back to I'm Kylie Montigney, and on today's episode, I'm so excited to talk to Jeremy Lewan. Jeremy joined the Stormtracker 16 weather team in November 2022 as a part-time Finland meteorologist. In January 2024, he joined the team permanently as a full-time weekday and weekend evening meteorologist. He was named the 2024 Gold winner in weather coverage for our area by the Times Leader Media Group's Best of the Best competition. You can find Jeremy with Sky Schaffer and Lisa Washington on the 7, 10, and 11 p.m. news, Wednesday through Friday, with Chelsea Strub for the weekend even shows. Ever since he was 5 years old, he wants to be a meteorologist. For his sixth birthday, his mother bought him a children's weather station, and that same year, his kindergarten teacher allowed him to present daily weather reports in front of the class, which is crazy to me at such as 6 years old. After majoring in environmental science and sustainability at High Tech High School in North Bergen, New Jersey, he majored in meteorology in Honors College at Rutgers University in New Brunswick in New Jersey. In May 2022, he graduated Meteorology Student of the Year with his Bachelor of Science degree in meteorology with a perfect 4.0 GPA. For all of his 18 years of education, from kindergarten through graduation from college, Jeremy has earned nothing less than an A in every class he has ever taken. Through his 4 years at High Tech High School, he received A plus in all 42 out of 42 classes he took, which is literally crazy to me. Like, I could never. But he was the only national NBC News climate unit intern in the entire country for three consecutive semesters from summer 2021 to spring 2022, working at 30 Rock in New York City. He prepared and produced weather content for today's show with Roker, NBC Nightly News at Lester Holt, MSNBC, NBC News Now, and more. Also, in his junior year, Jeremy was the only recipient in the country of the American Meteorological Society's top prize, $10,000 Orville Family Scholarship. Welcome to the show, Jeremy. Like, it's so great to finally catch up with you again after such a long time.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on your special podcast here, Kylie. I'm very excited to be part of the interview and talking to you about what I do here as a meteorologist and a little bit more about my life. Thank you for that kind introduction.
So a lot of people know you from working with WNEP and as a meteorologist, and also your fashion style, which I know a lot of people love. And we also talked about that when we first met a few months ago. But your passion for meteorology started very young, yeah, 5 years old. Like, can you kind of tell us about that early fascination with weather and how it shaped your life?
Sure. Weather has always been my passion. I did want to be a few other things when I was very young. So prior to 5 years old, I was thinking maybe a veterinarian, maybe a hairstylist, maybe a baseball player. But five is when I really decided and firmly demanded that I become a meteorologist. I knew from the moment I started watching the Weather Channel and would see meteorologists teaching and explaining the weather patterns. I became fascinated with all kinds of weather, especially the more extreme kinds of weather, hurricanes and blizzards. And I loved standing outside for hours. I would stand there with my little umbrella and my little rain boots with my mom and my dad, and they would stand there with me for hours as I watched little leaves going down the gutters, those streams that would form, the rivulets of water right along the side where the street meets the corner of the sidewalk. And
Mhm.
I'd see those streams go by, and I'd put a leaf at the top of the street, and I'd watch it go until it was swallowed whole by the gutter. And I was just mind blown that weather can change our surroundings completely. And that's a very small way that weather changes our surroundings. But that was just fascinating to me that it had the power to move something from one place to the other. And that really inspired me to learn more about weather. And the more I learned about it, the more fascinated I became with it.
Oh my God, especially at a young age, at 5 years old, you barely remember things at 5 years old, let alone letting and picking your future career at 5 years old. It's
Yeah,
something
it's
that I didn't even realize or really know how to speak at 5 years old, let alone what I want to do.
oh,
I didn't realize what I wanted to do until I was probably like a sophomore and junior in high school.
And that is totally okay. Not everybody needs to know what they want to be when they're 5 years old. I'm just lucky that I was able to set my goal very young. But many people find their passions late in life, and that's totally okay too. And some people follow their passions for a little while and then realize that's not really their passion and find something else. And that's totally okay too. That's something I love to tell people. Yes, I might be someone who knew what I wanted to do when I was young, but as long as you are following something that motivates you internally is what matters. And whether or not you find that young or old, as long as you find it is what matters.
No, exactly. Especially at 5 years old, you got lucky there. Like I wish
I
I
did.
knew
I
I
did
was
get
there at five
lucky.
years old. You just got very lucky.
And I think that my parents really helped to nurture that passion that I had at such a young age. So many parents want their students to be what they want them to be, their
Mhm.
kids rather, what they want them to be, and they push them into certain fields. Whereas I was always nurtured and cultivated with my love for meteorology from my mom and my dad. And I think that played a huge role in my continued pursuit of becoming the same thing from when I was little.
Your parents supporting you all that, like I love that they kind of support you for that process. No
Yeah.
matter if they probably think, oh, that's probably just gonna be kind of like a couple year thing. Like
Maybe just a phase, but
yeah, I know. Like they probably thought maybe it was a phase, but not a lot of people get out of that phase. They're probably like, okay, let's just get them through this phase. They'll probably find something new in a few years. But you did it, which is great because weather is, fascinating, even
yeah,
though people might not think, oh, weather is stupid. And especially being in the East Coast, we get hit with basically everything.
especially here in Pennsylvania. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to work here. And I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but working at WNEP is so unique because we have so many variations of weather. We get the hot and sweltering days in the summertime. We get the very interesting freezing rain events in the late spring, where, we get layers of ice on our roads that can make travel very treacherous. We get the blizzards in the wintertime. And in the spring and summer, we can also have tornado outbreaks. So
Mhm.
being able to forecast and learn about every kind of weather here in PA is so unique. And even a little bit outside of PA, I talk about rip currents on the forecast as well, because so many of our viewers go and spend a weekend down the shore.
Mhm.
So I even have that aspect of beach and coastal weather, even though we're not actually on a coast. I still get to learn and forecast for it. So being here in Pennsylvania is a very unique and special place to do the weather.
Right? And like with PA, you can deal with all four seasons in one day. That's how PA
Yes,
in
that's for
Pennsylvania.
sure.
Like one day you're in the morning, it's kind of like early spring, then summer, fall, as you go throughout the day, then at night it's die hard winter.
Yep.
You just don't know what to expect. But every single day is different, but we can deal with most of the seasons 7 days a week, then it'll turn into freezing.
Yes.
Which is like sometimes it drives me insane just because I'm just like, what day is the weather going to choose now? Like
I
I
know. I know.
just stick to one fall day or something, several four seasons, or even though what warm weather is actually great, don't get me wrong, but just stick to one thing and that would be amazing.
I think the best way to thwart Mother Nature's indecisiveness is to dress in layers. And if it gets colder later, you have that jacket. If it gets warmer in the afternoon, you can take those layers off. So,
No,
uh,
exactly. Exactly. Gotta be prepared in case, something happens. The weather might not say it's raining, but it rains anyway.
mhm.
So, do you have a favorite memory from presenting weather reports in kindergarten, if you remember, or a specific memory from a solid your dream to become a meteorologist? Like, do you have a favorite memory from growing up with that?
Yeah, so there's a few. When I was giving those weather forecasts in kindergarten, my kindergarten teacher, Miss Geary, I will forever thank her for her also nurturing of my passion, right? Because it's one thing to have your parents nurture your passion for a certain field or career, but then my
Mhm.
teachers also helped to develop that passion as well. She gave me a platform to be able to give the forecast in homeroom right after the Star Spangled Banner. and I would give that forecast. I'd write it on a slip of paper, a little sheet of paper, and I'd bring it in and I'd unroll it from my pocket. And I'd say, today it's going to be 34 degrees with a brisk wind out of the southwest. And we're also going to have sunshine. And then tomorrow it'll be cloudy, you know? And it was a quick 10-second forecast, but it was something that gave me the opportunity to practice my future at such a young age. And all the other students started to bring in their own slips of paper when I started doing this and giving the forecast as well. And at first I was really upset about it. I was like, well, I wanted to be the meteorologist. They
I
were
want to be
stealing
the
my
main center.
thunder. Yeah, but you know what? I think I'm the only one of my kindergarten fellow students who actually became a meteorologist. So for them, it was a phase.
Yeah,
And for
well,
me,
for them, at least you got the whole spotlight in that class.
that's
Maybe it was
true.
just like, oh, this kid is doing the weather. Why not get the attention too and be a little 2.0?
So we'll see. I think I was the only one who ended up becoming a
Let's
meteorologist.
hope you were. Who knows?
Yeah,
But you just started that one. There was to say that.
I
But
did.
what was it like for you to be the only NBC News climate unit intern in the country for three consecutive semesters? And are there any memorable moments working with our Roker and Lester Holt? Is there some basically big names in the journalism industry?
So I'm really grateful to have been the NBC News Climate Unit intern, not just for one semester, but for 3 semesters. It was an incredible opportunity for me to work with the best in the country in a national newsroom and understand the workflow of a national newsroom, because that's my ultimate goal in life, is to be the next Al Roker, to be the next Ginger Zeta. So to be able to see them and
Mhm.
how they work and the responsibilities that they have and the way that the newsroom works, that you have to be on air and on point at all times, is it was very you know amazing for me to be able to see that window into that future goal. Being able to work with Al, of course, America's grandfather, everybody loves him. And to be able to work with him was awesome. One of my favorite memories was his Roker-thon. He's done several of these where he's established a Guinness World Record, but this one in particular in 2021, when I was the intern, he established the world record for number of consecutive weather broadcasts in a relay. So he would say, I'm Al Roker and I'm here in Long Branch, New Jersey, and it's 74 degrees with partly cloudy skies, and we're going to send things over to our NBC affiliate in Alaska. And then he'd throw the beach ball, and the person in Alaska would catch the beach ball off camera and say, hey, here in Alaska, we're off the coast of Juneau, and the temperature right now is 47 degrees. We have a beautiful sunshine shining through these skies, blah, blah, blah. And then they'd pass it to the person in Savannah, Georgia, for example. So he had the longest weather relay, and I was able to be there on site with him while he was able to do this Guinness World Record and complete it. And I was there when the Guinness World Record adjudicator brought him the plaque with the recognition that he had made a Guinness World Record. And I was able to hold that plaque and be there during it. So that was an amazing opportunity for me. And I was also on the plaza later on in that summer. I was on the plaza with my own sign that I made myself. It took me 10 hours to make it. And it said, I'm Al Roker's intern, and I heart today, the Today Show. Um, and I hold it up throughout the entire show in the background in the plaza, and people can see me in the background. I got messages from my friends that they saw me in the background holding up my sign. People were posting it on social media that they see Al Roker's intern gallivanting around the plaza. So it was a really awesome opportunity for me to be there. And then they chose me as a contestant on the third hour of Today, called the Hoda and Jenna Show, um, where I played with Chanel Jones, a game of water pong where we had these triangular tables on our heads with these water cups, and we had to throw ping pong balls into the cups. It was a very exciting opportunity for me to be part of the show, not just behind the scenes of the show.
Like, did you win or did you lose on that one though?
No, I didn't win. I I had just gotten out of being at home for COVID because we were
Mm,
robbed of a year of our college years,
yeah.
of our college experience because of COVID. So I was at home for a year. So I had no practice with Pong. We get a lot of practice of that in college, and I
Mhm.
had not played Pong in years. So I was not good at it.
Hey,
I
trust me, if I was in that situation, I probably would have lost too.
well, high five there.
Hey, high
But
five to you though, because I rarely play Pong too, only if I'm at like a party or a family gathering. So I'm
yeah,
with you there.
and I hadn't played in a while, and I definitely brushed up on my skills in my senior year once I went back to college.
I know if someone would challenge me to play ping pong, I probably would have lost in a heartbeat, no matter what.
I think you need to give yourself some more credit.
I think so
Have
too.
faith
As
in
long
you.
as I get to practice, that's the most important thing.
Right.
That's literally, it's a little knock on wood there. So, is there any Pacific event or weather coverage moment that stands out to you specifically that was particularly impactful or memorable after joining Stormtracker 16?
Yeah, forecasting the impacts for our viewers is the most fulfilling part of this job, is making sure that our viewers are prepared for anything that could threaten their safety or their well-being. And a lot of that time, the most threatening weather can be a tornado, right? So more frequently now than ever, we're seeing tornado outbreaks across Pennsylvania as Tornado Alley shifts towards the east as we see warming temperatures as a result of climate change. So here in our area, we're seeing tornadoes more frequently than ever. Kurt and I cover them together on air, and we've had several tornado outbreaks where we've been live on the air for an hour, 2 hours straight, keeping our viewers updated on where the tornadoes are, what the threats are. And, oftentimes tornadoes don't just come alone. You have drenching rains and high winds outside of the tornado. Those
Mm-hmm.
are called straight line winds, and those can do a lot of damage too. So keeping our viewers in the path of a tornado updated while simultaneously keeping the viewers that are outside of that tornado path but could be in the path of other risks like flash flooding and other high winds also prepared and safe. So that's probably one of the most memorable parts of and most fulfilling parts of the job. And then another weather phenomena that I found really exciting to forecast for was one of our biggest snowstorms here in this region in January of 2024 this year, we had a snowstorm that dropped over a foot of snow in the Poconos. That
Mm-hmm.
was cool. And here in Pennsylvania, here in Scranton rather, we had about 3 to 5 inches of snow. But we used something here at WDP we call a jug head, given in by our viewers. It's made of clay or some other type of mold that one of our viewers, Jay Vonderhay, makes for many of the personalities here on WNDP. And Joe Snedeker, the morning meteorologist, put different guesses along my jug head as to where the snow would fall up to.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really funny that they happened to use something of me to guess when and how much snow would fall.
And every day is always something different. They also have, I think, heads of all the morning people every single day too.
They do. Yes, they have Joe, they have me, they have Kurt, Allie, John Meyer, um, Mindy. There's several others too, but our prior chief meteorologist, Tom Clark, who retired, I believe, in 2018
Mhm.
or 2016. But yes, all kinds of personalities have those joke heads here on
Hey, we
WNDP.
just need to get Chelsea Strub one now.
Yes, yeah, we have to petition for her to get one next.
Oh my God, we need to get a petition out there. I feel like she should get one too, or everyone, no matter what. It's like when I see the morning show clips, whenever like I wake up in the day or something, or someone from WND posted it, I'm just like, oh my God, this like it literally makes my day and gives me a good laugh after a while. Like with all those Joe
Sure.
laughs and craziness, I'm just like, oh my God, how if I work there, I don't know how I'm gonna last by not laughing.
Yeah, it's a very unique place where we're able to showcase who we really are on air and not have to, be all professional. And of course, when it's time, we will give the weather if it can threaten your safety and well-being. But we like to make things fun and um, incorporate levity into our forecasts, and Joe especially.
Oh yeah. Like with Joe, like he's the type of person that loves to bring the comedy no matter what situation
Oh
it is.
yeah, for sure.
And every time like I'm at a family situation, I'm Rennie or John. It's me, I'm cousins with Rennie and John Meyer. But every time I see them, they're always like, "Oh, Joe did this yesterday." I'm just like, "This is not interesting," or "No, like this is not surprising." So like whenever I hear those situations, I'm like, oh my God, if I worked at WNEP, this would drive me crazy. Like I like do especially working in the morning shop, it's like this hired me on the spot. I could do some fun in my life today.
Yeah. Yep.
So you received the Best of the Best award for weather coverage. What do you think makes your approach to meteorology resonate with our audience here in NEPA?
Well, I'm just so grateful for our viewers' support. Coming here looking the way I do, I'm the only long-haired male meteorologist on air in the entire country. So I was told by many people that I'd never get on air with this look, and to be embraced by all of the viewers has meant so much to me. And it's been such a reaffirmation of who I am and not having to change who I am and being authentic and people realizing that authenticity. And I guess that's what might have been one of the factors in me winning the Best awards is just them noticing my authenticity and me noticing their authenticity with their love back. And I love making metaphors and references during my weather broadcasts, explaining things in terms that people can understand because there's a lot of scientific jargon in meteorology. We are scientists, we have our degree in meteorology, we had to take calculus and physics and chemistry in order to understand the way the weather works. And to
Mhm.
break that down into a way that is digestible for our viewers is difficult. And I try to do that, and I try to focus on the why as to why things are happening. Today we just had record-breaking temperatures,
Mhm.
77 degrees in Avoca,
Mhm.
80 in Sealands Grove, 75 in Mount Pocono. We smashed records by 5, 6 degrees. Why is that happening? I want to explain that to the viewers. I want to explain the southerly flow of air as a result of a cold front that's coming through. A low pressure system spins counterclockwise and brings up air from the south, and that surge of air from the south caused record high temperatures today. Just
Mhm.
putting things into context and explaining the reasons why weather happens the way they do. And the little things that people see that, wow, Jeremy, there was a glint in the sky today where it was a little bit far off from the sun. What was that? And I'll explain that's a sundog that's created by the refraction of light within ice crystals in our clouds that are high in the sky. And then people are like, wow, I've never been explained it to me that way. Thank you for breaking down the science. And I think that education is what's missing in some not here at WNEP, but in some forecasts outside of this area that just doesn't set other meteorologists apart. And
Mhm.
so you just need to make sure that our viewers understand the science by breaking down the different components and by explaining the why behind the weather.
Right? And wait, especially in November, people are probably like, why is it 75 degrees
Yeah.
in PA
Yep.
in November? Like, how is that possible? And
Exactly.
when we're watching a weather station, like WNEP, for example, we like a lot of the people want to know about the facts behind a certain reason, like you explained. And when I watch these like news stations, I'm just like, I'm I don't know that much about science, but I'd rather hear someone that like yourself that knows science and learn from you rather than just like sit back and be like, what is this? Like they're explaining it, but I don't know what this is, even though I learned this probably class a couple years ago. And not a lot of people explain that, which I'd love that you do, but sometimes a lot of people don't know about a certain subject, but would like to learn more about what's happening here.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like the last question I have for you is, as you are continually working for WNEP, do you have any funny behind the scenes moments or scenes from working at the station?
Oh, too many to count. There's all kinds of behind the scenes mess ups and funny times and um, inside jokes. And one of my favorite parts is when Chelsea and I will be on the news and I'll say something to her that she knows exactly what I'm talking about, but the viewers have no clue about the joke that I'm referring to. So Chelsea will be cracking up on the desk And it doesn't make sense that she's cracking up, or the joke just wasn't that funny. So I love those little inside jokes
Mhm.
that we can have behind the scenes. Of course, we've all made mistakes, dropped clickers and things like that, graphics freezing up. But one of my favorite jokes on air is we have a backyard garden here at WNEP. And we plant different vegetables and fruits every year in that backyard garden. And this year we planted these Sun's Sugar tomatoes. They're these little orange ones. They're delicious. They burst in your mouth. They've got so much flavor. And I'd go out there and I'd take the Sun Sugar tomatoes, bring them back to the communal kitchen area, wash them up, and put them in my salad right here at WNEP. I'd make my salad and I'd put the tomatoes in it. Well, every time someone would go out there for tomatoes, I had already taken them. So they dubbed me the Tomato Bandit at WNEP because I'd stole all the tomatoes. And one day I got caught live in the act stealing the tomatoes. Kurt was
Actually,
giving the forecast, and I went out there to get the tomatoes for my salad, and I hadn't gotten ready yet. So my hair wasn't fixed, and I didn't have my contacts in. I had my glasses on. I wasn't really dressed for air. And I'm picking the tomatoes, and Kirk comes out and he goes on the air and he starts talking with me in the background picking the tomatoes.
oh
So
my
I
God.
just hid behind the tomato plant, but you can still see
I
my
would
hair.
just like lay back and be like, oh, this is not me. This is the guy that looks like me, like a little 2.0.
But you could still see my hair. So I had to wave real quick and then I dipped off camera.
Like, hi, this is me. Like, I don't look the greatest, but hi, everyone. Like, I'd be
I was
like, oh, this is
guilty,
embarrassing, but I'd be like, okay, hi, nice to see you too.
super guilty of taking the tomatoes.
I know, but it's worth it though, as long as it's good.
They were
That's the most
delicious.
important thing.
They were delicious.
Or like, especially if it's like grown in an actual garden, it has to be good though. I have to admit.
Hmm.
But especially with you and Chelsea, I see you guys literally making behind the scenes TikToks or reels all the time when you guys are working
Yeah.
on the weekends. It's literally
Yeah.
hilarious.
We often do it outside of work, and do our crazy things there, but we love to show off that this industry doesn't have to be, constantly serious. There's a lot of fun involved in doing this job, and we love to show the behind the scenes to our viewers.
Hey, it's always a fun job. That's why I'm definitely going into the career field whenever I graduate. But it definitely is something that is not always serious, but fun at the same time whenever you're not filming. Even
Yep,
though the journalism industry is hard, don't get me wrong, it's
it
very hard
is.
to kind of figure out, oh, what story am I going to cover today? Or what is the weather going on today? Or whatever is going on at the present moment. Every journalism story or moment or coworkers is always the best part whenever you're not filming. Even with the people that WNEP has, you always have to have a good laugh.
Yep. It's so important to have some sort of that's Joe Snedeker's bread and butter, right? Is
Mhm.
bringing that sense of entertainment and brightening of people's days that really sets us at WNEP apart from everybody else.
You're exactly right. And that is the best way to wrap up this episode. I'm so glad me and you were able to finally catch up after a while.
Me
I literally
too.
loved having you on and finally able to do this. I know
Yeah,
we've been playing this for a long time, but I'm so glad we were able to get this done and film this. It was so great catching up with you again and really appreciate you coming on and taking the time.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful meeting you.
You too. And thank you everyone for coming on and listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, and review and stay up to date with Jeremy. And I'll talk to you guys very